Now the savings comparison works just like the prepayment comparison, but with one difference. In the prepayment comparison, we assume that all available cash flow is used to repay the debt in the most efficient way possible, prepaying the highest interest rate first to see how quickly could that debt be paid off. In the savings comparison, we assume that the minimum debt payment is made each month for each individual liability. Whether it be a 30-year or 15-year, you're going to make your minimum payment each month. Anything that you don't apply towards the debt is discretionary cash flow that could be used for savings. The savings rate is going to be found right here, and you can slide that or enter that savings rate in. That's the rate at which that money will grow. And what we're simply doing is saying, is it more efficient to save your way to debt repayment in the future or to prepay your way to debt repayment? And all we need to know is, well, what would you earn on that money on an after-tax basis? In this case, we have 6%. The opening balance, house value, mortgage liabilities, savings and interest, all exactly the same. There's no change here. But I can see savings over 30 years against my baseline, 287 and 261. So in this scenario, I can see that this particular scenario, if I'm looking to save my way towards the future to debt repayment, that this is the best strategy for me, because I'm going to have the most savings at the end of 30 years on a net basis. This also, like the other scenario, will say over 30 years, which is our target time frame, how much money would that reflect? Well, that's like having $7.97 a month put in my pocket in today's dollars. So I can take this and say $287 is a lot of money, but let me tell you, that's like we're really saving you $787 a month. Now, if I'm comparing this current mortgage you have today, if you were to make your minimum payment each month on your mortgage and save everything that you could save over 30 years based on that available monthly cash flow, meaning as debts are paid off, for example, maybe this mortgage has 20 years left. That would mean in 20 years, once that mortgage is paid off, for the next 10 years, that money would go into savings at 6%. It doesn't really matter. Whatever available cash flow is available, it's going to calculate it each month. These show up on your amortization tables. That amount could be invested, and that's what would happen over time. You'd be able to have enough money in your savings account, your investment account, to prepay your debt in 217 months. Here, you'd be able to pay that debt off in 161, and here in 162. So only about a 1 month difference there, but you can see the difference over time because of compounding and stuff, 797 versus 726. So in this scenario, I would clearly go with this particular option. I could tell the client, in both of these scenarios, we're going to increase your wealth by over $250,000. But in this scenario, we're going to save you an average of $787 a month and put you in a position to be debt-free. A point at which you could be debt-free would be 161 months from today using your savings account. If you choose to repay it by building a savings account with your current debt structure, you can do that in about 217 months. But it's going to cost you $287,000 to do it the way you're doing it today. So again, the main difference here, we're comparing all of the available cash flow going to savings at 6% versus on the repayment scenario that we did just a second ago. I'll slide this up if you looked at that video as well. All of the available cash flow is going towards prepaying that existing debt. What's nice about this is if I open both of these up at the same time, I can then compare each example prepaying versus savings and seeing which is the most efficient for that client. There's no other way that I know that you can do this efficiently.